You're missing the Six Nations? Yeah, I am. I'm pining after it. These rest weeks, they don't need the rest weeks. Yeah, fine, they do need the rest, but I don't want them to have the rest weeks because I want rugby. That said, there are some pretty cool fixtures to look forward to this weekend, and I will give a rundown on some of them and focus right in on the pick of them. Firstly, Moana Pacifica versus the Fijian Drua. That's a cool fixture and well worth keeping an eye on as these two nations develop their club teams in Super Rugby. I'll look forward to watching that one over a coffee tomorrow morning. Keep an eye on the top 14 this weekend down at the bottom of the table. The relegation battle is fierce. The atmosphere in these grounds is going to be wild. Montpellier take on Oya. Now the bottom two teams, and just above them in the French top 14, not many points ahead of them as well. You've got Bayonne playing against Lyon, and whoever loses that game is going to be looking right over their shoulder down the table. So a lot of consequential games in France, but the big game of the weekend, no question, the Bulls v the Stormers in Pretoria, and it's going to be absolutely box office. Springboks all over the shop. A load of the young guys that have been making their name and are in Rassie Erasmus's alignment camp in a couple of days' time, and they're going to be meeting up in that camp with one of these two teams having bragging rights over the other. The North takes on the South. The old rivalry is going to be rekindled once again at Loftus Versfeld, and I cannot wait for it. It's going to be awesome, and it's important to point out, and I was only having a conversation earlier today, actually. I was doing a bit of research and some logistics ahead of my trips to South Africa later this year, and I was having a chat with a fella who was telling me all about Northern Transvaal against Western Province and just what a rivalry that was for years, for decades. Maybe the rivalry has sort of tapered off a little bit. Now it's become the Bulls and the Stormers. And from those Currie Cup days, I'm assuming the Currie Cup fixture still happens every year and is still a big deal. I'm assuming that is the case, but no love lost between these two sides in terms of rivalry, but deep respect between the two as rugby nations. And they're both flying quite high in the URC. Bulls in third, having a great season under Jake White, and Dobbo leading his boys to sixth. I mean, they've done very well in this competition before, and they'll be looking to move their way up the table, and to do that, they will want a win away at the Bulls. But actually, do you know what? There's a little bit of me says, forget about the league table. It doesn't really matter. This is about history. It's about rivalry. It's about edge. It's about niggle. And sold out. And that's a special thing, isn't it? So there was a fixture before Christmas between Munster and Leinster. And I was just talking about what an amazing rivalry that was. Southwest of Ireland and the east, northeast, Dublin, Limerick, those two great provinces going head to head. There's an argument that this rivalry is even more fiercely contested. It's right up there. The two of them are two of the biggest and the best. This one has clearly captured the imagination of the fans because it's sold out, and that's very special. You get that occasionally in the Premiership. When, say, Harlequins have their one game a year at Twickenham and it's a really big occasion. You get the feeling, though, with that, while they do sell a lot of tickets, they also give quite a lot away to local schools and stuff, which is fantastic. And 80,000 is a lot to sell, but to sell this place out, that's very impressive. As for the teams, well, only gets you a bit more excited. You've got Springboks everywhere. Looking forward to seeing Johan Grobelaar starting at hooker, trying to make a statement ahead of that alignment camp. And look at that, Akker van der Merwe, a guy that will feel like he should and maybe will be included in Springbok squads in the months ahead. He's on the bench. Villy LaRue is on the bench with Devon Williams starting. There's some proper talent in that team, although they are without Elric Lowe and Cameron Hanekom. And you would imagine they would be starting in the back row, Gumede on the bench as well. So I imagine for some fans, the entire, what they would consider first choice back row, not there. But Marcel Coetzee, Marco van Staden, they're okay. They're okay. I'm assuming, by the way, Hanekom and Lowe are injured. You don't really get a lot of... I couldn't find anywhere whether they are or not. That's just my assumption. And as for the Stormers, stacked. No Franz Malherbe, though. There was word that he was back in training and might be making his first appearance, but he's not even in a position to take his place on the bench. So Neithling Fouchier carries on at tight head prop, where he's been doing brilliantly and rewarded with a Springbok alignment camp call-up. Look at that big smile, Dion Ferree. Tell you what, when I am in Cape Town later this year, that is a man I'm trying to hunt down for an interview for the channel. If I could pick one person while I'm in South Africa to sit down and have a chat with, oh, there's a few actually. Can I possibly say that? Oh, there's a few, but Dion Ferree would be right near the top of my list, close to the top. Dion, no, if you're watching, you'd be top. Let's go out for a coffee. Let's come on the channel. By the way, I'm Tim. This is Egg Chasers, and if you appreciate the content, give the video a thumbs up, and yeah, that helps spread the word. And if I haven't already, maybe I'll earn your subscription. That would be amazing as well. Elsewhere in the team, Hakchiva Diamane or Diamane. Apologies. I'm getting there with the pronunciations. He may feel he's got a point to prove. Rassie Erasmus did say that the alignment camp wasn't a closed door to anyone that hasn't made the Springbok camp. But I think he was probably the one name people were expecting to see called up who wasn't. So a big performance from him at number 8. And Evan Roos might feel he's got a point to prove with some people. I mean, myself included, starting to question where he is in the Springbok pecking order. So a lot to play for. I love seeing Ben Loader there. He's such a nice bloke. And I was really sad when London Irish folded. I thought it was a really brave and brilliant move for him to go down to Cape Town. And what an experience and what great rugby he's playing in a pretty handy team. And I think most Stormers fans will probably be thinking it's very close. Maybe Franz Malherbe away from the strongest team. I mean, you can argue whether some would have Morat in the starting lineup and whatnot, but it's not far off, is it? And yeah, I quite like the fact the schools have been put up there. That's something else I've been learning as I'm preparing to come to South Africa. I'd quite like to get to a schools match while I'm there, because I've heard how amazing they are to watch. So I'm starting to get used to it. I know Grey College, Bloemfontein, and Paul Roos is that Stellenbosch? Yeah, Stellenbosch. The Western Cape Pile Gymnasium. These great rugby schools. And I know, and again, excuse my pronunciation, her school, Utaniqua. Have I said that right? Apologies. Anyway, that I read that in an article this week, because that was the school of Duan van der Merwe. And some of his fellow alumni are up there right now, with Gallant and Libok among them. Very cool fixture. Looking forward to it a lot, and great rugby coming up this weekend. I'll have a full-time review of the Bulls versus the Stormers, because that is the pick of the games for the weekend, and then we'll be back into Six Nations build-up. Cannot wait for that as well. I'll see you on the next one.